Because he lives, we became a family. I'm Crystal Whitelock. I have been at Matthias for almost 15 years now. I've always loved kids, one of my biggest desires has always been to have a family and be a mom. I grew a passion for adoption and fostering in my teens, and just had always known that was going to be a part of my life. 3 years ago, I started the route of being a foster mom on my own. Single foster mom I've had 9 kids through my house, 2 of which I've adopted. Whenever I first got licensed, it took a while before I got my first call. And then I had a few calls that just were not the right calls to take. January 2018, I received 2 boys in my house that they had been living with their great-grandma for a while before, since they had been removed from their house, but she just was not able to continue caring for them the way that she felt like needed to happen for them. And so they all became a part of my family. The boys just came into my house, and they fit right in a lot of ways. It was a struggle. There was a lot of struggling times with attitudes, dealing with older kids that had seen a lot of the world that was just a tough world. A first grader that was waking himself up to go to school and getting himself to school on his own. And it's just hard when you have someone that's that independent and needing to take care of himself. And then he's now put into my house and needing to rely on me to take care of him, and learn to rely on me to take care of him and his younger brother. They were in my house until April, and then they were removed. They went to a family member that nobody on the team, on the foster team that we were dealing with, none of them wanted them to be moved to this home. Nobody felt like it was a great place for them to go. It was probably the hardest thing for them to move on to another home. Each time, each of the other 7 have left my house, or 6 have left my house, it's never been as hard as it was the time that the 2 of them left. And then I went for 3 months with no calls. There was just no one calling for placements of other kids. And it was just it was a hard time. I was really mourning the loss of not having anyone in the house, but also just the loss of the boys and the worry of what the boys might be in that house. And then their caseworker called me back, and they were being removed from their grandparents' house. So they were removed from that home, and God had left those beds empty for them to move right back in. A couple days later, I received another call for kids that I had to turn away because my boys were back home. It was quite a while, but in February, we became a family. I feel like God's just has given me the strength to continue this daily motherhood of just taking care of these kids. The hardest part of starting a family like this and having kids that were lived a life that was through hardship is just knowing that trauma and seeing the side effects of it. Hearing a child that does not always love himself because of the way he had seen others act towards themselves or even towards him. It's just heartbreaking to see that these little kids just have that history. But it's also beautiful just to see the boys just grow through this. And as they get that more stable life and know that they're not going anywhere, it's just beautiful to see their growth and how they can come above that. The other day, just randomly, we were sitting in the living room and Braden had said something about, "I'm glad you chose me," or chose us. And then he went from that to kind of like, "Well, you didn't really choose us." and back and forth. And then Cameron said, no, God chose us. And that's what it is. God chose us to be a family. He chose us to be able to continue that. God has a plan. He had a plan for my life, for their life, to be together. And I can see that all the time whenever I see them.